Hello, future RNs. This is Sir Josh, and for this recorded lecture, we're going to discuss your loss, childhood developmental disorder, or your neurodevelopmental disorders, which is your intellectual disability or your intellectual developmental disorder. So, si intellectual disability nurses, before, tinatawag po kasi siya yung mismong mental retardation. Okay? Ibig sabihin, this disorder includes both intellectual and adaptive functioning deficits in their conceptual, in their social, and even with their practical domains. Ibig sabihin, apektado po itong tatlong domains na to. Okay? Wherein, yung mismong tao or mismong bata na merong intellectual disability, okay, problema or meron siyang impairment dun sa kanyang intellectual adaptation or function. Ibig sabihin, when it comes to basing dun sa mismong clinical assessment and through with your IQ test, meron talaga siyang intellectual deficits. Same to with your adaptive functioning, okay? Ibig sabihin, ano bang ibig sabihin ng adaptive functioning nurses? Ito po kasi yung mismong ability ng isang tao to adapt, okay, dun sa mga requirements of daily living. And makikita natin that it is expected for them, okay, in appropriately according to their age and even with their cultural group as well. Okay? So, when it comes to this level of severity, nakabase po tayo dun sa mismong adaptive functioning ng isang bata or tao within your three domains. Okay? So, ngayon, when it comes to its onset naman, nurses, okay, it usually occurs during your developmental period. Okay? So, now let's proceed with your etiology or yung mga possible predisposing or risk factors natin that could attribute, okay, to the development of your intellectual disability. So, dito, primarily talaga, makikita natin yung mga possible risk factors. It is due to your biological risk factors, primarily, meron din tayong tinatawag na psychosocial or even with combination. And usually, minsan naman, nagiging unknown talaga kung yung mismong walang exact known cause kung bakit nagkaroon ng intellectual disability ang isang tao. And when it comes to its risk factors, talagang makikita natin when it comes to its assessment, talagang there is really a significant impairments, no, dun sa mismong intellectual functions and even with the adaptation ng isang bata. So, ano yung mga iba't ibang factors natin dito? We have your number 1, we have your genetic factors, ano pa? We also have your embryonic disruptions of your embryonic development. And then ano pa? Meron tayong tinatawag na pregnancy and perinatal factors. And then lastly, we also, next naman, we have your general medical conditions acquired in infancy or childhood. And then lastly, we also have to consider yung mga social factors and other mental disorders. So now, mag-start muna tayo with your genetic factors that include your possible inborn errors of metabolism and even with your chromosomal disorders. So under your inborn error of metabolism, okay, usually kasi nurses, 5% ng cases natin ng mga client na merong intellectual disability, it is really due to your tawag dito, due to your genetic factors. So 5% kasi ng cases ng mga client natin na merong intellectual disability, usually ang risk factor niya is because of your genetic predisposition. Like, for example, under this one, nagkaroon ng inborn errors of your metabolism. Ano ba yung mga possible na sakit dito? Number 1, meron tayong kinatawag na Tay-Sachs or Tay-Sachs or whatever pronunciation is it. Okay, Tay-Sachs disease. Next, we have your PKU. Okay, alam niyo ang ibig sabihin ng PKU nurses, that's your phenylketonuria. And then lastly, we have your hyperglycemia. Okay, hyperglycemia. So, pag ngayon, nagkaroon po ng error or impairment dun sa mismong metabolism ng bata, which is being manifested by this, na nagmamanifest sa mga sakit na ganito like your Tay-Sachs disease, your PKU, and your hyperglycemia, possible, mas mataas yung mismong chance na magkaroon ng intellectual disability yung isang bata. Kasi nga merong genetic defect dun sa mismong bata. Merong inborn errors dun sa mismong metabolism ng isang bata. Okay, what else? Possible yung bata, nagkaroon siya ng chromosomal disorder. Meron siyang chromosomal disorder. Like for example, ano ba yung mga chromosomal disorder or aberrations na yan? Diyan papasok yung tinatawag natin na Down syndrome. Okay, so expected na si patient na mayroong Down syndrome, possible, meron siyang intellectual disability. Okay, meron siyang impairment or deficit dun sa kanyang intellectual and adaptive functioning. And then lastly, meron tayong kinatawag na Klein or Klinefelters syndrome. Okay, Klinefelter's syndrome. Okay, so yan po yung mga genetic factors natin that could possibly increase your risk or increase the risk or chances na ang bata, pag nagkaroon siya ng inborn errors of metabolism, nagkaroon siya ng chromosomal disorder, possible, mataas yung chance na magkaroon din ng intellectual disability. So next naman tayo here is that nagkaroon ng disruptions doon sa kanyang embryonic development. Okay, number 1, possible nagkaroon ng damage that occur, okay, damages that occur in response to toxicity. Ano ba itong mga toxic na mga substances or nagkaroon ng exposure dun sa mga toxics natin or mga toxins natin. Kasi usually, no, when it comes to this factor talaga, 30% po, okay, ng mga cases natin ng mga patient na mayroong intellectual disability, it's because of this factor, disruption of their embryonic development. So ngayon, ano ba yung mga possible substances na yan? Okay, na possible pag nagkaroon siya ng exposure, pwedeng magkaroon ng damages or magkaroon ng problem or disruption dyan sa kanyang embryonic development. Number 1, si mother natin, alcoholic. Okay, nagkaroon siya ng excessive, maternal ingestion of your what? Ingestion of your alcohol and even with your drugs. Particularly kasi pag si mother alcoholic, di ba ang ending niyan, it will lead to your FAS or your fetal alcoholic syndrome. Which is your FAS or your fetal alcoholic syndrome, this is the leading preventable cause of your intellectual disability. Okay, what else? Si mother nagkaroon ng illnesses and infections during pregnancy. Like for example, si mother natin nagkaroon ng HIV, okay, naka-acquire siya ng rubella, or even with your cytomegalovirus. Okay, wherein this itong mga infections na to, alam naman natin that these infections could contribute para magkaroon ng intellectual disability yung isang bata or dun sa kanilang offspring. And then lastly, we have your complications of your pregnancy. Like for example, si mother natin, okay, nagkaroon siya ng tinatawag na toxemia. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng toxemia? Alam niyo na yun kasi abnormal OB na kayo. And even with your GDM or nagkaroon siya ng uncontrolled diabetes mellitus all throughout your pregnancy. So, itong mga factors na to, pwede siyang mag-contribute into your development of your intellectual disability. Okay, so next naman tayo here, we have your pregnancy and perinatal factors. Okay, we have circumstances, no, that occur during pregnancy. So, ngayon, si mother natin, hindi niya namimit yung mismong nutritional demands or intake na dapat nakukuha niya all throughout their pregnancy. So, si baby naman, ang effect sa kanya, nagkaroon siya ng fetal malnutrition. Particularly your FA or your folic acid kasi importante po talaga yan. And even possible, yung mismong bata, okay, nagkaroon siya or yung mismong mother, okay, nagkaroon siya naka-acquire siya again ng mga viral and other infections. Okay, and other infections. And then last is si baby, okay, hindi niya na-reach yung mismong exact gestational age like in the case of your prematurity. Okay, premature yung mismong bata. Okay, syempre pag premature ang bata, hindi, tawag dito, hindi pa siya ganun fully developed. Okay, particularly when it comes kung ano man yung ang tawag dito, kailangan niya dapat, di ba, kapag na-reach kasi ng bata yung mismong exact gestational age, doon natin ma-determine na mas okay yung kanyang development. Okay, compared kabag sa mga premature na baby natin. And of course, during birth process, okay, nagkaroon ng problem. Like for example, your anoxia, cerebral anoxia due to your trauma. Okay, nagkaroon ng trauma dun sa mismong ulo ng bata. Okay, what else? Nagkaroon si mother ng placenta previa. Okay, alam nyo ng ibig sabihin ng placenta previa. And even with your premature separation ng placenta. And then lastly, possible magkaroon ng umbilical cord prolapse during your birth process. So, yun yung mga factors that could contribute, okay, para magkaroon ng intellectual disability ang isang bata. And then next naman here, we have your general medical conditions that is being acquired in infancy or childhood. Kasi usually no 5% ng mga reportable cases natin ay dahil sa factor na to or dahil sa cause na to. Okay, that includes your infection, your poisoning, and even with your physical trauma. Okay, so under your infection, yung mismong bata, during infancy or during childhood, naka-acquire siya ng mga infections. Ano ba yung mga possible infections or example ng infections? So, yan, we have your meningitis. Si meningitis, that is the inflammation of your what? Inflammation of your meninges. Okay, what else? Nagkaroon siya ng inflammation sa kanyang brain, or yun yung tinatawag natin na encephalitis. And with this type of infection, nurses, possible na pag na-acquire ito ng bata, that will lead to impairment dun sa kanyang intellectual and with their adaptive functioning. Okay? What else? You also have here your poisoning. Okay? Yung bata naka-ingest siya ng pesticides. Okay? Like for example, yung bata naka-ingest siya ng pesticide or insecticide. Okay? Naka-ingest siya ng Baygon for example. Or meron siyang exposure sa Baygon na inom niya. Possible ba na magkaroon siya ng intellectual disability on the latter part of their life? Yes. Kasi pag nagkaroon siya ng poisoning due to your insecticides, pwede siya magkaroon ng intellectual disability. Same to with yung mga gamot natin. Okay? Kaya importante na pag-batch talaga yan. Hindi pwedeng siniself-medicate natin yan kasi baka mamaya magkaroon ng adverse effect dun sa mismong bata wherein pwede siya magkaroon ng intellectual disability. And sabi nga natin dun sa ADHD kanina, pag nagkaroon siya ng environmental exposure to lead, okay, kasi sabi natin na apektuhan kasi yung cognitive and behavioral aspect ng bata pagdating sa mismong exposure niya sa lead, lalo pag meron siyang mataas na level ng lead dun sa kanyang katawan. Okay? What else? Nakasustain siya ng physical trauma. Like for example, yung bata, nagkaroon siya ng head trauma. Okay? During their infancy or adulthood, nahulog sa kama, tumama yung ulo. Possible po yan. And next naman here, possible nagkaroon ng asphyxiation. O nurses, ano bang ibig sabihin ng asphyxiation? Dapat alam niyo din yan. Ano bang ibig sabihin, nurses, ng asphyxiation? Ibig sabihin ng asphyxiation, nurses, eting mismo medical emergency wherein there is a severe oxygen deprivation. Possible dahil nagkaroon ng airway obstruction. Possible na nagkaroon ng suffocating bata. And even with your chemical inhalation, that will lead to possible unconsciousness dun sa bata or even with your death. Diba? Nagkaroon siya ng asphyxiation. And then, next naman here, nagkaroon siya ng hyperpyrexia. O, alam niyo na ang ibig sabihin nito, masyadong mataas yung lagnat. Hindi natin na-manage yung mismong lagnat ng bata until such time pwedeng mag-convulsion yan. So, possible, kapag itong mga to, mga physical trauma that involves your head trauma, asphyxiation, even with your hyperpyrexia, pag hindi kasi natin ito na-manage, possible or eventually that will lead to intellectual disability dun sa mismong bata. Okay, and then lastly, we have your socio-cultural factors and other mental disorders natin. Kasi nurses, no, remember that 15 to 20% okay, ng mga cases natin, reportable cases ng ating, or reported cases ng ating intellectual disability, merong kinalaman ang kanilang socio-cultural factors and other mental disorder. Okay, kasi pwedeng mag-coexist yan, di ba? Yun yung discussion natin with your autism spectrum disorder, that possible yung mga possible comorbidities or mga possible na psychiatric mental disorder, pwede kasing mag-co-occur yan. Same po with your intellectual disability. So ngayon, pag yung mismong bata nagkaroon siya ng deprivation to nurturance and social stimulation, anti-impoverished environments. Like for example, yung bata, no, during their infancy, during their childhood, nagkaroon sila ng very poor na prenatal and perinatal care. Possible yan, magkakaroon talaga yan ng intellectual disability. As same true with your, for example, yung bata, galing sila sa impoverished environment, malamang pag impoverished siya, nasa laylayan, nagkakaroon sila ng inadequacy dun sa mismong nutritional needs, or nutritional, hindi nila namimit yung mismong nutritional needs and demands na kailangan or appropriate dun sa kanilang mga edad. And then, aside from that one, mga mental disorders natin, pwedeng mag-coexist yung dalawang yan. Sabi natin, particularly with your autism spectrum disorder. Okay? So, what will be our possible, dito? What will be our possible assessment dito? Na, as nurses, it's very important na nagkakaroon kasi tayo ng recognition dun sa mga possible causes or dun sa mismong period of inception para sa ganun, mas makapag-provide tayo ng information. Okay, for example, sa kanilang caregiver and even with their family members, no? So that alam nila kung ano yung possible na pwede nilang gawin. Okay, paano sila mag-intervene as well. And of course, from that one, since targeted kasi yung mismo mga our interventions natin dun sa mismong client natin na mayroong intellectual disability natin, alam natin, we could accept, we could expect kung ano man yung mismong magiging behavior or mga potential behavior ng bata na pwede niyang ipakita sa atin who have your intellectual disability. So what will be our possible assessment according to your DSM-5? Sabi natin kanina, it varies, no? Nakadepende kasi yan dun sa mismong degree of severity ng mismong intellectual disability that may be measured by IQ level natin. It's very important that as nurses, we really have to assess, okay, and focus din sa mismong strengths and even with the individual abilities. Wag tayong mag-dwell, wag tayong mag-focus dun sa mismong condition ng bata. But rather, kailangan nating i-assess or kailangan kasi nating mag-focus dun sa mismong strength and even with the individual abilities ng bata na merong intellectual disability. And with that, okay, mas when it comes to our assessment, no, pag na-assess kasi natin na mas maayos yung bata, mas makikita natin kung meron bang kakayahan yung bata, no? Matetest natin or ma-assess natin yung mismong level of independence ng bata in the performance ng kanilang mga self-care activities. Okay, so what will be our levels ng mismong severity natin that's being measured by your IQ natin? Okay, we have your mild. Okay, ano ba? We have your moderate. You also have your severe and your profound. Okay, so ano ba yung normal IQ dapat ng isang bata or ng isang tao, di ba? At least 90 to 110. Yun yung mismong normal IQ na dapat meron kayo or meron tayo as a normal individual. So ngayon, yung mga bata kasi nurses or mga bata or mga tao na merong intellectual disability, malamang since they have that impairment or deficit with their intellectual functioning, seen through with their adaptive functioning, malamang pwedeng maapektuhan yung kanilang ability to perform their self-care activities. Okay, what else? Pwedeng maapektuhan yung kanilang cognitive and educational capabilities, their social communication capabilities, and of course, lastly, their psychomotor capabilities. So ngayon, mag-start tayo with your mild. So ano yung mismong level ng kanilang IQ ang mga merong mild? Okay, mga merong mild intellectual disability, at least 50 to 70. Nagre-range lang siya from 50 to 70. Ibig sabihin, nurses, ito kasi yung mga tinatawag natin na mga moron. O, diba? So, dito natin makikita na yung paggamit natin ng mga terminologies natin that are actually inappropriate. Kaya nga hindi na natin ginagamit ng mental retardation. Retarded. Diba? Very negative po siya. Kaya pinalitan siya into intellectual disability. So, itong mga merong mild na level of your, mild na level of their, impairment dun sa kanilang intellectual and their adaptive functioning, tinatawag natin silang moron. Okay, so ano ulit yung range ng kanilang IQ at 50 to 70. So dito, yung kanilang ability to perform self-care activities, yes, they are still capable of independent living, but kailangan nila ng assistance during times of stress. And then, aside from that one, pagdating sa kanilang educational and their cognitive capabilities, okay, they are capable of academic skills related to 6th grade. Okay, pang grade 6 lang yung mismong level or yung mismong capability nila, no? And then aside from that one, as an adult naman, okay, they could still achieve vocational skills for minimal or minimum self-support. So nurses, ano bang ibig sabihin ng vocational skills? Ibig sabihin, okay, ng mga vocational skills natin, ito yung kakayahan nila to, for example, yung mga technical trades, like for example, kaya pa rin naman nilang, yung characteristic kasi ng mga vocational skills natin, kaya pa rin naman nila mag-perform sa mga hands-on training, mga ganyan. Okay, so, yun po yung mismong cognitive educational capabilities. Ibig sabihin, educable or trainable naman tong mga to. Okay, when it comes to their vocational skills. How about with your social communication capabilities nila, nurses? Okay, they're still capable of developing social skills. Okay, they functions well in a structured and sheltered manner. Anong ibig sabihin niya, nurses? Functions well in a structured and sheltered manner. Ibig sabihin, nurses, okay, ibig sabihin nito, tawag dito, ano nang ibig sabihin kasi nito? Wait lang, nakalimutan ko siya. Medyo nagkakaroon ako ng thought blocking. Ano nang ibig sabihin ng, para at least makapagbigay tayo ng example, no? Ibig sabihin kasi nito, nurses, pag sinabi nating structured and sheltered setting, ibig sabihin, tawag dito, kailangan nila ng at least, kailangan nila ng at least supervision doon sa kanilang environment, no? Like, for example, tawag dito, yung mga key aspects kasi ng structured sheltered setting natin. Ito yung nakakapagana tayo ng mga routines and rules sa kanila. Ano pa? When it comes to their goal of care is that nakikita natin na naka-aim tayo or naka-anchor talaga tayo, no? When it comes to fostering their social reintegration and reducing yung possible na maging problem dun sa kanilang environment. So, yun yung tinatawag kasi natin na structured sheltered setting. And then, aside from that one, when it comes naman sa kanilang psychomotor capabilities nurses, is that yung kanilang psychomotor skills, okay, are usually not affected. Okay, although, yung iba sa kanila, they might have slight problems with coordination. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nurses ng psychomotor skills natin? Okay, mga example nito is that, tawag dito, ito yung mga physical, no, learned physical movements natin that requires your coordination between saan? Between yung mismong brain natin and with our muscular action. So, yung mga psychomotor skills natin. Okay, so, what else? So, next naman tayo sa mismong next level, which are your moderate. Okay, or meron silang 35 to 49 na level ng kanilang IQ. Ito naman pa yung mga tinatawag natin na mga imbecile. Okay? Pag tinawag kang imbecile, grabe naman. Okay, anong tingin mo sa akin? Moderate lang yung IQ ko, di ba? Or moderate lang yung mismong level of severity ng aking intellectual disability. So, wag kayong pumayag na tawagin kayong imbecile. Wag kayong pumayag na tawagin kayong moron. Okay? So, when it comes to their ability to perform self-care activities, kaya pa rin naman nilang mag-perform ng activities independently, but it requires supervision. Kailangan nila ng supervision. Okay? When it comes naman sa kanilang cognitive and academic or educational capabilities, they are capable of academic skill related to what? Second grade level, pang grade 2. Okay? And as an adult, they may be able to contribute to own support in sheltered workshops. So, nasabi naman natin kanina kung anong ibig sabihin ng mismong structured sheltered setting natin. And then, they may experience some limitation in speech communication. Medyo nahihirapan sila mag-initiate or magkaroon ng maayos na interpersonal relationship with other people because limited lang yung kanilang speech communication. Okay, what else? They have difficulty adhering to social convention and that may interfere with peer relationships. What else? Pagdating naman sa kanilang psychomotor capabilities, okay, yung kanilang motor development, okay, it might be, tawag dito, fear. Kasi sabi natin kanina, no, yung mismong skills kasi, yung mismong mga psychomotor skills natin that range dun sa kanilang fine motor, okay, to gross motor. Like, pag sinabi kasi natin mga fine motor activities, like for example, writing, mga ganyan, okay, pag sinabi kasi naman natin, gross motor skills natin yung mga, for example, running, walking, mga ganyan. Okay, wherein, sinasabi natin kanina, this can be learned. Okay, mga physical movements na yan that requires your coordination in between your brain processes and your muscular actions. Okay, iba, fair naman yun sa kanila when it comes to this level of tawag ito, intellectual disability. And then, their vocational capabilities may be limited to unskilled gross motor activities. Okay, so next naman tayo here with your severe. Meron silang 20 to 34. Tawag dito, 20 to 34 na IQ. Eto na po yung mga tinatawag nila na idiot. O, di ba? Ang pangit, hindi talaga maganda na tawagin kang idiot. Kasi, wala ka namang intellectual disability. And hindi severe yung mismong level of your intellectual disability. Okay, they may be trained in elementary hygiene skills and they require complete or maximal supervision. And then, aside from that one, they are able to benefit both from academic or vocational training and they profit from systematic habit training. So, ano bang ibig sabihin, nurses, ng systematic habit training na yan? Ibig sabihin, nurses, pag sinabi natin systematic habit training, okay, example nito is that, tawag dito, ano yung mga example? Nakakalimutan ko. Nagkakaroon talaga ako ng thought blocking, nurses, pasensya na. Okay, pag sinabi kasi nating systematic habit training, eto yung mga tawag dito, like for example, yung for example lang, yung very simple na mga habit stacking, mga habit stacking, na ginagawa natin, or mga habit stack natin, or stacking habits natin. Okay, kumbaga ito yung mga, okay, tawag dito, that involves yung mga bago or yung mga desired habit na kailangan dapat nakikita natin sa kanila or mga automatic na daily routine, like for example, brushing their teeth as well, mga ganyan. So, kailangan talaga na meron silang as much as possible, meron silang supervision or maximal supervision kahit dun sa mga simpleng mga bagay or mga activities or habits na yon. Okay, what else? They have that minimal verbal skills. Okay, their wants and needs are often communicated by acting out behavior, 'di ba? Sabi natin pag syempre yung mismong level of their their level of their adapting functioning, same to with their intellectual functioning, talagang sobrang baba, very severe. So through their since they have that minimal verbal skills, ang ginagawa nila para ma-convey nila yung kailangan nila is acting out behavior or nagka-tantrums ang mga yan. Okay, what else? They have that poor psychomotor development. They are unable to perform only simple tasks under close supervision. And then last in nurses is that ito yung mga profound, okay, the profound level, ang kanilang level of IQ is below 20. They do not have that capacity, okay, for independent functioning, wala talaga. And that requires aid and supervision, constant. Ibig sabihin, kailangan natin maging consistent or over time, dapat nandun tayo para i-supervise at para tulungan sila. And they are unable to benefit both from your academic or vocational training, and they may respond to minimal training in self-help if presented in the close context of one-to-one relationship. And then, they have little, if any, speech development and wala talagang silang kakayahan, okay, or capacity for socialization skills. And then, lastly, okay, they may lack, okay, ability for both fine and gross motor movements, simpleng pagsulat, simpleng paglakad, simpleng pagtakbo. Okay, hindi nila kayang gawin. And they may require constant supervision and care, and it may be associated with other physical disorders as well. Kasi impaired yung kanilang gross motor movements. Okay, so yan po yung mismong assessment natin, or the level of your severity, the degree of severity of intellectual disability that is being measured by your client's IQ level according to your DSM-5. Ulitin natin, we have your mild, or ito yung mga 50 to 70 ang kanilang level of IQ. Ito yung mga tinatawag natin na moron. Your moderate, na merong 35 to 49 IQ level, or ito yung mga tinatawag natin na imbecile. And then sa severe naman, which is 20 to 34 level of their IQ, ito naman po yung tinatawag natin na idiot. And then lastly, ito yung mga profound level, which is, okay, meron silang below 20 na IQ. Okay, so now, let's proceed with your possible nursing diagnosis that is tawag dito na curated according to dun sa mismong kailangan ng mga client natin na merong intellectual disability. So we have here your physical for risk for physical injury related to altered physical mobility or aggressive behavior. What else? We have your self-care deficit related to altered physical mobility or lack maturity. And then we also have your impaired verbal communication related to developmental alteration. And then, lastly, we have your impaired social interaction related to deficiencies or speech deficiencies or difficulty adhering to conventional social behavior. So, what will be our nursing interventions here? So, una muna sa unang diagnosis natin, of course, eto yung priority natin. We have to create what? We have to create a safe environment for client. Ano pa? Kailangan nating i-ensure that small items are being removed from area where client will be ambulating, and that sharp items are out of reach. Kasi sabi natin kanina, meron silang yung mismong ang tawag natin dito, yung kanina din sa mismong level ng kanilang pag-iisip. Okay, it may be tawag dito possible kasi kailangan ng constant aid and supervision, no, sa every time na meron silang ginagawa. And then what else? You have to store items that the client uses frequently within easy reach. Para sa ganun, tawag dito, hindi sila mahihirapan, no, na mag-convey ng kanilang pangangailangan or kailangan nilang yung mga gusto nila. Okay, yung mga wants and needs, since they have that very minimal verbal skills, okay, yung mga wants and needs sila, sabi natin kanina, they're being communicated by acting out behavior para maiwasan po natin yung kanilang mga possible na mga aggressive behavior. And then aside from that one, you have to pad side rails kapag sila ay nagkaroon ng acting out behavior or nagiging maladaptive yung kanilang mga behaviors. Okay, so naging aggressive sila, naging hostile sila, since mataas yung kanilang risk for injury. Okay, so you have to pad their side rails, maglagay tayo ng headboard, particularly sa mga client natin na mayroong history of seizures. And then lastly, we have to prevent physical aggression and acting out behavior by learning and recognizing signs that the client is becoming agitated. So ngayon, sabi natin nagkaroon ng constant, dapat kailangan talaga na ma-recognize or dapat talaga as much as possible, dapat alam natin kung ano ba talaga yung reason, kung bakit siya nagkakaroon ng ganong behavior. So that, alam natin kung paano tayo mag-intervene, and aside from that one, so that we could elevate their level of anxiety para hindi sila magkaroon ng agitated or hindi sila magiging agitated. Okay? Or hindi sila magiging irritable. Okay? So next naman tayo here when it comes to your self-care deficit related to altered physical mobility or lack maturity. Okay, number 1 here, we have to what? We have to identify the aspects of self-care that may be within client's capabilities. So, dito naman, nurses, dito papasok yung mismong, tawag dito papasok yung mismong pakikipag-work natin. We have to work on them on one-to-one aspect or one step at a time, yung pag-perform nila ng kanilang mga self-care. Okay, so hindi pwedeng hindi pwedeng maging complicated yung mismong yung mismong pag-help or pag-aid or pag-supervise atin para sa kanilang magawa nila yung kanilang mga self-care activities. And aside from that one, sabi ko nga kanina, dapat hindi complicated yung pag-instruct natin sa kanila. No? That's why it's very important for us nurses to really provide a very simple and concrete explanation sa kanila. And kapag meron man silang nagawang tama, okay, we have to offer positive feedback for their efforts to do that one. Kasi, the more na nagkakaroon kasi tayo ng, di ba, paulit-ulit ko itong sinasabi sa inyo, na the more na mas nagkakaroon kasi tayo ng positive reinforcement, doon sa mga bagay-bagay na nagagawa nila ng tama or mga sense of accomplishment na nakikita natin sa kanila, that enhances their self-esteem. And mas na-encourage natin, no, na magkaroon ng repetition of that desirable behavior. Okay? So, what else? Okay, when one aspect of self-care has been mastered to the best of client's ability, we have to move on to another. Okay, so dito, we really have to encourage, no, yung mismong independence sa kanila. But, kapag hindi nila kayang i-perform ito, we have to intervene as much as possible. Kasi, in this type of cognitive developmental disorder, their comfort and safety, yun naman talaga yung magiging priority natin para sa kanila. Okay, not regardless of their problem, regardless of their disorder, we could still provide comfort and safety to them. Okay, what else? We have your impaired verbal communication related to developmental alteration. Okay, so number 1 intervention here, nurses, is that we really have to maintain consistency of staff assignment over time. Kasi mahirap kasi talaga, no, nakapagbabago-bago yung kanilang caregiver or nakapagbabago-bago yung kanilang mag-aalaga sa kanila since nahihirapan sila to adapt, okay, to kahit minimal na changes in their environment, same with your ASD. Pwedeng magkaroon yan ng acting out behavior, pwedeng matrigger natin yan para magkaroon siya ng mga maladaptive behavior. Kasi, kapag meron consistency yung mismong staff natin, naka-assign sa kanila from time to time, mas nakakapag-facilitate tayo ng trust. And yung mismong ability natin, no, to really understand kung ano ba talaga yung mismong way of communication ng mismong client natin or yung kanilang mga actions na pinapakita or as being manifested by your clients or patients sa mayroong intellectual disability, mas nauunawaan natin ito na mas mabuti. And aside from that one, you have to anticipate and fulfill clients' needs until satisfactory communication patterns are being established. Ibig sabihin, nurses, as nurses na mag-aalaga or as their primary caregivers, we really have to learn kung ano ba yung mga special words or mga neologism na ginagamit nila, no? Kailangan nating alamin or kailangan nating maintindihan or kailangan nating matutunan yung mga ginagamit nila or mga verbatim or yung mga verbal cues nila. And aside from that one, aside from your verbal cues, dapat alam din natin, no, yung mga possible non-verbal gestures or even signals that may warrant us to intervene or that may warrant our supervision or our attention. Okay? And then aside from that one, since alam mo na, na-learn mo na, na-identify mo na, kailangan natin isang i-practice repeatedly. Para sa ganun, alam natin kung paano tayo mag-intervene, alam natin kung paano yung magiging approach natin dun sa bata na mayroong intellectual disability. Okay? Kasi talaga yung mga mayroong severe level of your intellectual disability, they can only learn by systematic habit training. Diba? Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. Okay, what else? And then lastly naman here, nurses, kapag nagkaroon silang impaired social interaction related to speech deficiencies or difficulty adhering to conventional social behavior, number 1 dito is that we have to remain with client during initial interactions with other on the unit. Kasi nurses, Kapag kasi meron, tawag dito, kapag inintroduce mo kasi sila na sa ibang tao, talagang ma-anxious siya, nagiging agitated or nagiging irritable yan. Kasi, kapag meron kasing presence of a trusted individual, okay, for example, ikaw yung nag-aalaga sa kanya at meron ka doon, when you introduce them to other people, or when you allow them to engage or participate with activities that require, okay, other people, it's very important na meron ka doon kasi that provides anong tawag dito, that really provides that feeling of security and belongingness para sa kanila, no? And then aside from that one, you have to explain to other clients the meaning behind some clients and verbal gestures and signals kasi mga kamamaya pwede kasi nilang ma-misinterpret yan. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo kanina, you definitely have to use simple languages to explain that acceptable behavior sa iba. Okay, and then aside from that one, you have to establish a procedure for behavior modification with rewards for appropriate behaviors and aversive reinforcement for inappropriate behavior. So, dito papasok yung mismong positive and negative and even with your aversive reinforcement. Nang sa ganon, kapag kasi nagkaroon tayo ng reinforcement sa mga bagay-bagay o dun sa mismong mga appropriate behaviors na kailangan nilang ipakita or kailangan nilang i-adapt or for example, kailangan nilang gawin, mas nagkakaroon ng desired changes doon sa kanilang mga behavior. So, it's very important for us nurses, no, when it comes to its intervention, although targeted talaga siya dun sa mismong client natin na mayroong intellectual disability, it's really important na mayroong participation din yung mismong family members and even with the primary caregivers. Nang sa ganon, ma-discern nila or ma-distinguish nila or magkaroon sila na maging knowledgeable sila dun sa mismong condition ng bata. Or magkaroon sila ng enough na information or adequate information regarding dun sa mismong condition ng bata. Okay, at least with the participation kasi ng family members or even with the primary caregivers, at least maiintindihan nila na mabuti yung mismong scope ng condition ng bata. And aside from that one, hindi sila magiging bias, hindi sila magkakaroon ng prejudices kasi nga, mas magkakaroon sila ng realistic expectation according dun sa mismong degree of severity ng condition ng bata. And aside from that one, sabi ko nga kanina, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-focus, no, dun sa mismong condition ng bata, but rather, kailangan talaga nating mag-focus dun sa mismong potential ng bata. And aside from that one, alam natin kung ano yung mga possible na behavioral method, tawag dito, modifying behavior methods na pwede nating i-integrate sa kanila kapag nagkaroon ng problema. Okay, so that's it for our discussion with your intellectual disability or your intellectual developmental disorders.